Hello, my amazing listeners. This is Real Life Talk with Blessing, the show of reality. Today we have a medical icon on the show, a man whose passion for his work is so intriguing. I call him the magic hand of God. He is a neurologist, the MD, brain and spine specialist, Abuja, here in Nigeria, Dr. Ogungbo. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
I personally want to know, and I am sure my listeners too would be interested to know, what made you choose brain and spine and not other kinds of medicine? Because I know that is your specialty. What was your passion to become a brain and spine surgeon?
That's a very interesting question. I suppose I fell in love with neurosurgery or brain and spine surgery after going to work with a mentor, a neurosurgeon in Oxford in the UK called Mr. Christopher Adams. Mr. Adams made neurosurgery seem so easy and effortless. So many other neurosurgeons over the years that I've trained with have also showed me that neurosurgery is an exact specialty. So long as you do things the right way, so long as you follow the steps that have been laid down by those who have come before us, you will get the right answer. So the thing with neurosurgery is that it has to be precise, and you do have to do things on time. It's not the kind of medicine that you procrastinate. You have to be a decision maker. And when you make the decision to treat a patient with a neurosurgical problem, you must be prepared to go to the ends of the earth to ensure that they get a good outcome. I never wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I actually went to the UK to train in orthopedics. And I was going on to become an orthopedic surgeon until I had a break, like a 2-week holiday, which I decided to go and spend making some money in Oxford. So I went to do a locum in Oxford. Soon as I got to Oxford and I met Christopher Adams and I started helping them with the neurosurgery, I totally fell in love with neurosurgery, and that was the end of any thoughts about doing orthopedics. And so I decided, come what may, neurosurgery was my calling, and I was going to be a neurosurgeon. I think over the years it's not so much that I've developed passion for neurosurgery. I'm just truly in love with neurosurgery. And I wake up, and for me, neurosurgery has now become so easy. It really, truly is like playing football. I know it's like, people talk about Ronaldo or Lionel Messi and all of these people whose passion is, football or any other kind of sport. And these people wake up and they're happy to go and play football. I wake up and I'm happy, to go and do neurosurgery. And I can't wait for the next patient who will come to me with their problems that I will, start thinking and strategizing on, truly how to help them solve that particular problem. So for me, neurosurgery has become as easy as playing football. And like I said, I truly enjoy what I do.
When do you think people should seek help for their brain? Because I had a friend who died from brain hemorrhage. Is that something that can be operated on?
And is brain hemorrhage something that can be operated on? Well, we're talking here about stroke, and there are different types of stroke. So let's be clear. Stroke is like somebody switched the lights out. It's something that happens so suddenly. So like, you have a heart attack. Stroke is a brain attack. It just attacks the brain. But there are two main types of stroke. One is a dry stroke, where the blood vessels, the pipe carrying blood into the brain, gets blocked, which means that area of the brain has no blood supply. No blood supply means there's no food, there's no oxygen to that part of the brain. So that part of the brain can die unless we do something quickly about it. That's one type of stroke. The other type of stroke is the wet stroke. In this one, the pipe carrying blood to the brain, it just bursts open. So like somebody turned the tap on and there's water everywhere. This is exactly what happens in the brain. The blood vessel or the pipe carrying blood to the brain bursts open and bleeds into the brain. Both types of stroke, the dry one and the wet one, they can both be treated. The dry stroke, because there's a blockage in the pipe carrying blood to the brain, if we reopen the pipe and restore blood flow to the brain, the person can survive and the brain can survive and they can become totally normal. For the one where there is bleeding inside the brain, we can stop the bleeding and we can remove the blood that is everywhere in the brain. We can wash out the brain, and also quite a few of these people like that survive. But with stroke, we say time is brain. It means that as soon as the stroke occurs or there are signs that there's going to be stroke, people must go to a hospital immediately. So the signs of stroke, again, when you will know that somebody is having a stroke, is weakness of an arm or a leg, sudden severe headache, sudden blindness, sudden difficulty in hearing, serious confusion, especially in an adult person, or slurring of speech. If somebody is muddling their words out, somebody who speaks properly suddenly can't find the words or doesn't know what they're saying or they're confused, you should assume that they're having a stroke and take them to a hospital immediately. Doctors in good hospitals will recognize that these are signs of a stroke. They will start trying to decide which type of stroke is it. Is it a wet stroke or a dry stroke? We need to know that. And to know that, you need a brain scan. We need to actually look at the brain and see what is happening to the brain. It's when we know whether it's a wet stroke or a dry stroke, then we can do something about it. So definitely we can operate on the brain. We can operate to release the blockage of the pipe so that blood flow and food can get to the brain, or we can operate to remove the blood clots inside the brain and stop the bleeding. There's so much we can do about it.
Now, let's talk about the one that interests me the most, scoliosis. Yeah, a lot of people, especially Nigerians, don't know anything about this. Please, can you educate us on scoliosis? Because now a lot of children seem to be having the symptoms and some people don't know what to do, and a lot of them don't know where to go to. I have always been an ambassador for your work because I have had first-hand experience with you. Do you think scoliosis could affect a child's mental health? Do you think it could affect them psychologically? Does scoliosis affect the internal organs, like the lungs, the kidneys, the heart? I know it actually curves the rib cage, because from my son's own, I noticed his rib cage were almost changing shapes before you did his surgery.
Scoliosis is the abnormal bending of the spine, and many people have seen some who are like hunchbacks, where the spine is bendy in some way. Most people don't know about this, and it is common in children. The sad thing, of course, is that many parents actually don't see their children undress, and so they miss when the spine starts bending. And it's only when the children get to school that maybe their games master or their friends or some other relative will notice that why is your Why are you walking funny? Why is your spine looking abnormal? That may be the time when parents, especially the mothers, will notice that there's something wrong. But truly, parents should make it a point to see that their children are developing okay, and that the spine, especially when you look at them from the back, that the spine is straight and looks normal. If it is bendy, if it is twisting one way or another, that's what we call scoliosis, and it should be recognized, and they should be seen by an orthopedic or a spine surgeon. Can scoliosis affect a child's mental health? Definitely. It can affect anybody's mental health. The spine is not normal, the spine is bendy, the spine is wonky, especially in children. Other children can be cruel and make fun of them. Many people don't want to go out, many people can't undress in public, many people don't want to do sports. And so it definitely can affect a child's mental health. It can affect their education if they feel sad and unhappy, they feel depressed, they don't like the way their spine is, and so they want to stay at home and not go to school. So it definitely can affect people psychologically. And scoliosis affect the internal organs. Definitely scoliosis can affect the lungs. It can reduce the development of the lungs. It can reduce the ability of the lungs to expand. So it can affect their breathing. It can definitely affect the lungs. It doesn't affect the kidneys, and it really doesn't affect the heart, but it can affect the lungs because it can reduce the ability of the lungs to expand. And if your lungs cannot expand properly, then your breathing is affected. And in some people, it can lead to paralysis. And of course, scoliosis can kill. That is for sure. The other thing, of course, is that if it's not treated early, it makes it difficult for spine surgeons or orthopedic or neurosurgeons to treat it. And we may not be able to get the best correction because the operation is now a lot more dangerous to the patient than if it was corrected early. So with scoliosis, it should be recognized by the parents or by teachers or by friends. It should be highlighted. They should seek help as soon as possible, and they should seek help from somebody who knows what they're talking about. And they shouldn't rest until they know that this problem has been resolved, either with physiotherapy, either with a jacket, or when it's really bad and it's getting worse, definitely with surgery.
What about people with stroke? Is there hope for them at BAS? My dad actually has stroke, so I have always been thinking, is this something he can recover from? Does he need any kind of surgery? Is that something you can educate us about?
Yeah, definitely there's hope for patients with stroke at brain and spine surgery. We can look after patients who have suffered a stroke. We can look after them at brain and spine. And the only important thing is that we will prefer that people come to hospital before they have a stroke. People who have high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, sickle cell disease, any concerns, go to a hospital, get checked out, get the high blood pressure controlled, get the diabetes controlled, lose weight, stop smoking. If we all actually do the right things, then we will prevent stroke. Preventing stroke is better than treating stroke. It's so much easier and so much cheaper to prevent stroke than to wait, have a stroke, and then start looking for who can treat you. The thing about stroke, of course, is that it's an emergency. It's a medical emergency. We like people who have just suffered a stroke to present to hospital within an hour to 3 hours, tops maximum about 6 hours. But you find that some people have a stroke and then they're coming 24 hours later, a week later, 3 months later. By that time, often, the damage is done and we can't actually help them. The acronym for stroke that we use and we tell people is actually FAST, not FACE. FAST. F-A-S-T. F means facial weakness or drooping of the face. A, arm weakness. If you ask them to put their arms up, one arm, falls down because they don't have any energy to carry the arm up. Problems with their speech, which is the S. And T actually means telephone, which means F-A-S-T. If somebody has weakness of the face, weakness of the arm, or problems with their speech, you must telephone or go to a hospital immediately. Do not wait till the next day.
I have young listeners too, and I'm sure our young listeners would love to know how the journey to being a brain and spine doctor was. Was it fun all the way? Did you ever have any challenges in your choice of career? And I always ask these questions because I know people don't just wake up and decide to do a particular thing or a particular path or career. What motivated you to come back to Nigeria?
This is a very interesting question, but definitely the journey to becoming a brain surgeon was actually long and full of so many challenges. But with everything in life, so long as you're committed, and so long as you enjoy what you do, then the hard work pays off at the end of the day. So, I knew I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And even though when things were difficult and there were easier paths, I could have become a general practitioner in the UK. I could have become an orthopedic surgeon. I could have become even a gynecologist. But I knew those other specialties would not make me happy. I totally would not have been happy being a gynecologist or an obstetrician looking after women. I knew I had to stay the course, regardless of how difficult neurosurgery was. I definitely knew that was my calling, and so I continued to train and try to be the best in it, regardless of all the hardship. What motivated you to come back to Nigeria? The funny thing was I actually never ever wanted to travel out of Nigeria in the first place. I always wanted to stay in Nigeria and practice. Initially, I even did set up a hospital in Lagos, but after a while, I decided, I could be better than that. I could be better than just, being a medical director in a hospital at a very young age. And so I decided I needed to go and specialize. And so once I made that decision, I went to the UK to become an orthopedic surgeon before my paths crossed with that of neurosurgery, and I ultimately changed to become a neurosurgeon.
Dr. Ogungbo, I heard you have a new place now in Port Harcourt where you can meet with patients who might not want to travel to Abuja. Can you please give us an insight about the new place?
We are definitely developing a clinic in Port Harcourt where we can see patients who are in river states and surrounding areas. This will help us to bring neurosurgical care closer to those in Port Harcourt and hopefully support the neurosurgeons in Port Harcourt to deliver neurosurgical care locally. What we would like to do is to actually come into Port Harcourt and see patients and then make decisions for them. Kind of like act like a second opinion for people who otherwise may have had to travel to Lagos, to Kano, or in fact go abroad. If we can be in Port Harcourt and offer some advice, some opinion, and in fact even perform surgical intervention locally in Port Harcourt, then that I think will be providing a good service for patients with brain or spine problems in Port Harcourt.
Some of my audience sent in different questions for you because I had to let them know I was expecting you on the show. One, someone sent this in, said, does the brain have a part to play in insomnia?
The brain definitely has a part to play in insomnia. There are parts of the brain that is responsible for sleep, and if that part of the brain is disturbed, then definitely one cannot switch off, and so you find it difficult to sleep. But there are sleep specialists, there are doctors who are actually truly interested in helping people sleep. We call them sleep specialists, and those people should be contacted. So anyone with a sleep problem or insomnia does not need a neurosurgeon, you need a sleep specialist.
What are natural ways to exercise the brain for optimum performance?
I like this question about the natural way to exercise the brain for optimum performance. This is a fantastic question, and I think it's important to actually spend some time talking about this. I recently did give lectures to 3-year-olds to about 11-year-olds on how they can develop their brain, because their brain is still growing, and our brain continues to grow till we're about 20 to 25 years of age, and that's when it stops growing. So we all have the capacity at that age to prepare our brain for optimum performance. And what I told the children to do was to eat well. You have to eat well, you have to give the brain food, you have to exercise, and exercise actually means physical exercise. Just go out and work out, because that gets lots of oxygen to the brain. Then you have to do specific brain training, and specific brain training actually means getting more or different parts of the brain to talk to each other. And the way to do that is by doing things that may not be within your comfort zone. So for example, if you like reading, read, but don't just read only fiction. Read geography, read history, read politics, read so many different things. That continues to allow the brain to connect in so many different ways. If you like reading as well, then even start learning languages, start learning different sports, different games. All those different things that we do will allow the brain to, different parts of the brain to talk to each other and increase the connectivity within the brain. It's that increased connectivity that actually improves the performance of the brain. So to make the brain function at the highest level, keep exercising the brain, keep teaching the brain new things. You learn new things. Learn how to do salsa dancing, learn how to do yoga, learn a new language, learn a new sport. If you're right-handed, teach your left hand, to start doing some things. It will improve the connection between the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, and all of those things will ensure that we don't lose memory, because a lot of people are actually losing their memory from about 40 years of age. But they need to seriously start teaching the brain new tricks. I know, they say you can't teach a dog, new tricks, but yes, you can. You can teach the brain new tricks and improve its performance. How can we adjust our sitting position for the health of the spine? This is a great question as well. To sit, you need to sit in such a way that your back is straight, your thighs are straight, and your feet are touching the ground. When you sit as well, ensure that your head is supported. So most of the chairs we sit on should have a neck and a head support. They should have an arm support. You have to sit in a position where your spine is at 90 degrees to your hip. Your hip is at 90 degrees to your knees is at 90 degrees to the ankle, and your feet is flat on the ground. When you sit like that, you are perfect. But the other thing, of course, is don't sit for too long. Don't sit for hours and hours and hours on end. If you've sat for about an hour to 2 hours, you should get up, take a walk, or go and lie down to readjust the spine. Does lower back pain indicate undue pressure to the spine? The spine, the way God has made it, should be pain-free. When there's pain, it means there's something going on. It means there's some sort of injury. And so lower back pain, knee pain, hip pain, pain anywhere in the body actually means injury. Let me digress for a second and talk about people who do physiotherapy, or these Ijo women who do, massages and all of that. If anyone is doing physiotherapy for you or doing massage for you and it's causing pain, it means they're doing harm. Massages, physiotherapy, or any of those things that we do to our body should not cause pain. Pain means injury. Either it's injury to the muscle, injury to ligaments, injury to the joints, injury to the bones, or injury to the disc in the spine. The disc is a shock absorber in the spine. So whatever we do to our body must not cause pain. Pain often indicates injury. How can we strengthen our spine as we age? We can do that by exercises. I'd love for people who are retired to still get out, do yoga, go for walks, join dancing classes. Just continue to do things that keep you active. Don't just sit at home thinking, oh, I'm too fat, or thinking, if I go for a walk, people will say, I don't have a car. All of these things are things that we allow, to hold us back. And if you just sit doing nothing, you age very quickly. And most of these people who don't do anything, as they get older, they get sicker, and then they start relying on other people to help them. But if you go out and exercise, you will be fitter, your body will definitely thank you for it, and you will live much longer than if you just sit doing nothing. What healthy habits can we begin as we age to protect the vitality of our brain? This is also a very good question. Don't allow your brain to be inactive. As they say, the devil finds work for idle hands. The devil also finds work for idle brains. So regardless of who you are, regardless of what you've done, what kind of job or anything like that, learn a new trick, learn a new language, learn a new skill, learn a new kind of sport, learn a new kind of game. Just do something different, something that will keep improving your brain, and like I said, improving the connections or the connectivity, within the brain.
In all sincerity, everyone, I had a first-hand experience with this doctor. He was the one who operated my son that I've been talking about. The hospital is one of the best I have ever seen. It was like a visit to a hotel. The food was 5-star. The hospitality was 5-star. The treatment was 5-star. You won't even believe you are in Nigeria. Guys, this man is the solution to all spine and brain issues. I'm gonna post his hospital details on Instagram for everyone who would love to contact or consult with him. Let me educate you guys about this, because I had a friend or two who have died from this brain hemorrhage. Brain hemorrhage is an emergency condition in which a ruptured blood vessel causes bleeding inside the brain. High blood pressure and trauma are two leading causes. Taking blood thinning drugs may also increase a person's risk, because a lot of times we see people complain of migraines and constant headaches that give them pain in their eyes. Please, if you have any kind of complaint about your spine or something you don't understand about a migraine or a particular headache that is affecting your eye, please get in touch with Dr. Ogungbo. You'll be rest assured that everything will be handled accordingly. So I personally want to say thank you, Dr. Ogungbo, for being with me on this show. I'm grateful. I respect you so much and I appreciate you a lot. I am grateful for what God is using you to do in the lives of many.
Thank you very much.
I'm so happy you took out time to come on my show. I feel so privileged, Thank you so much. And for everyone who tuned in to listen to this, please share this with your friends. Okay, maybe someone who is going through a particular issue with their spinal cord, maybe a stroke victim, or someone who is having issues with their head, with their brain, constant headache and migraines. You might just need to see Dr. Ogungbo. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Please don't forget, follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, and please check out our website for more podcast stories and exclusive interviews. Do have a nice day, guys. God bless you.